Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 62 based on novel. So let's start. Fiery Flame City. The countless tiny light mirrors fragments in the sky once again gathered together at this moment, forming 100,000 feet large light mirror which covered the sky. Countless pairs of eyes within the city were gathered on the 100,000 feet large light mirror. Mist swirled within it, and the scene displayed was that of the 10 figures who had reached the mountaintop. 10 figures proudly stood at the top of each peak. Despite being masked by the immeasurable mirror, their powerful auras still caused the many experts in Fiery Flame City to become solemn. The ability to survive numerous eliminations and stand at the top was definitely not something that could be achieved through mere luck alone. Shushio, Tang Xinlian and Zhu Ziyi have all ascended a peak as expected. The top 3 on the rookie list do live up to their name. Other than them, Teng Kuei and Lin Dong on the rookie list have also managed to pass. The other few are unfamiliar. It seems that there really are many dark horses in this competition. However, the only ones who have the qualifications to fight for the Thunderbolt ancestral symbols are likely Shushio, Tang Xinlian and Zhu Ziyi. The main event is finally about to begin. Many conversations suddenly erupted throughout Fiery Flame City when the 10 human figures appeared within the light mirror. Brother Lin Dong and Ling Shan have managed to ascend a peak. Ji Yu Wei was pleasantly surprised as she looked at the 2 familiar figures and remarked. Ji Yu Manchu smiled faintly. It was indeed a little surprising that Mu Lingshan was able to reach the peak. However, she believed that it was only natural for Lin Dong to do so. The latter's strength was sufficient to shock numerous people. However, the main event will be next. Ji Yu Yang softly said. Ji Yu Mengqi nodded. Her pretty eyes looked towards the 100,000 feet light mirror in the sky. Those abnormally strong existences at the top 3 spots of the rookie list had also reached the peaks. Although she knew that Lin Dong was powerful, these opponents were also not simple individuals. To defeat the and ultimately obtain the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol was definitely not an easy task. At the same time, the reputation of the one who managed to become the champion of this competition would become the greatest amongst all the younger generation within the chaotic Demon Sea. Lin Dong, you can definitely do it. Ji Yu Mengqi looked at the young man standing on a mountain peak who was facing the wind with the lightning emperor scepter in his hand as her red lips gently pursed. She really wished to see just how grand and dazzling he would be when this Lin Dong, who was a nobody just a year ago, truly stood at the pinnacle. They have all reached the peaks, huh? Mo Luo stood with his hands behind his back in the main hall of the Flame Divine Hall. His eyes also looked towards the huge light mirror in the sky. His gaze swept across the image in the mirror before finally pausing on Hua Chen and Xu Xiu. This fluctuation, it is indeed the Yimo. These 2 fellows. Mo Luo slightly narrowed his eyes before slowly opening them a moment later. A cold glint flitted across them. By pushing his senses to the limit, the Hua Chen duo within the immeasurable mirror were naturally unable to escape his detection. These 2 are really powerful. The red-robed first elder of the Flame Divine Hall appeared behind Mo Luo. He knitted his white eyebrows as he stared intently at the Hua Chen duo and remarked in a deep voice. Yes, there is rather uncertain if the Xin Lian duo will be able to defeat them. An obscure expression flashed across Mo Luo's eyes. He lifted his head and looked towards the azure sky before he finally spoke in a faint voice. The target we have been waiting for has yet to appear. If they were to discover that this Thunderbolt ancestral symbol is a fake, this plan of ours will have completely failed. It will also be much more difficult to lure them out in the future. All we can do now is to hope that Tang Xinlian's group will be able to stop the Hua Chen duo. The first elder sighed. I? Mo Luo nodded. Chief, when will Lord Qingji and the rest arrive? The red-robed elder asked in a somewhat worried manner. No one knew just what rank Yimo would appear this time. However, given the allure of the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol, the Yimo that appeared would definitely be extraordinary. Even their Flame Divine Hall would have some difficulty facing Yimo of such level. You can be rest assured that they will appear once the Yimo do so. Mo Luo spoke in a faint voice. Of course, if our plan fails, Qingji will not appear. The red-robed old man nodded slightly. He understood that those Yimo would definitely pay extra attention to a peak expert like Qingji. It was likely that the Yimo would target him once he appeared. The most important thing to do now is to act according to our plan. As long as we manage to prevent the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol from landing in the hands of the Hua Chen duo, the Yimo leaders hidden in the darkness will definitely intervene. Mo Luo deeply inhaled a mouthful of air. His eyes, which were fixed on the immeasurable mirror, shifted slightly, and he looked at a thin young figure on a mountain peak as his hands slowly clenched tightly. Lin Dong, if Xin Lian and Zhu Zi fail, perhaps we can only rely on you. Hopefully, it will not reach that stage. After all, the Xin Lian duo are very strong. The 10 towering mountain peaks pierced through the swirling mists. 10 figures stood on each peak. If they tilted their heads down, it would seem as though the entire realm within the immeasurable mirror was beneath their feet. At the center of the 10 peaks was the main peak of Immeasurable Mountain. Lightning flashed on it as a terrifying ripple along with deep rumbling thunder spread from it. Everyone's gazes gathered at the main peak. Several of their gazes were searing hot. The Thunderbolt ancestral symbol was almost within reach. Ha ha, it is really an honor to have the chance to fight against the many experts from the younger generation of the chaotic demon sea here. On one of the peaks, the black-clothed Hua Chen withdrew his eyes from the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol, before looking at the surrounding individuals as he smiled a little. His smile appeared rather humble. Lin Dong, Tang Xinlian and Zhu Zi watched him with cold eyes. Hua Chen was frighteningly powerful. This appearance of his instead caused one to feel a chill in one's heart. Some of the others who were unaware of Hua Chen's background glanced at him as their corners of their mouths turned downwards. Although they knew that those who could come all the way here were extraordinary, the attitude of this person still caused them to feel some disdain. I have desired this Thunderbolt ancestral symbol for a long time. Hence, I wish to obtain it. I hope that everyone will be able to help fulfill this wish of mine. Hua Chen continued to smile. Soon after, his body moved and he directly shot towards the main peak. TCH, where did this blind fellow come from? Don't even think for a moment that this Thunderbolt ancestral symbol will be yours. A cold laughter sounded when Hua Chen moved. After which, a somewhat unfamiliar-looking man charged forward. Wild and violent Yuan power turned into a stream that shot straight at Hua Chen. Death Qi lingered in this stream of Yuan power. This person was clearly an initial profound death stage expert. Ha ha. Hua Chen's smile grew even wider as he looked at the person who had attacked. He did not dodge the attack. Instead, he allowed the Yuan power stream to ruthlessly strike his body. However, his body was completely unharmed as the wild and violent force swept past. What? The attacker's expression immediately changed upon seeing this. Only then did he feel that something, a sense of unease. Before he could pull back, the space in front of him distorted and Hua Chen appeared before him. Looks like this friend has some objection towards myself. In that case, Hua Chen grinned at the man as his smile instantly became malicious. Die. Black light surged from the tip of Hua Chen's finger. His hand penetrated space like a sharp claw and landed on the top of the man's head. The expression in his eyes quickly became cruel as he grabbed at the man's head. Boom! A low and deep sound spread, and the man's head instantaneously exploded as fresh blood mingled with brain matter shot in all directions. Soon after, a golden light hurriedly fled from within his body. He, trying to flee. Hua Chen's lips parted to form a smile. He opened his mouth wide and a suction force emerged, directly swallowing the golden Yuan spirit light into his body. Ah! An exceptionally terrified screech was emitted from between Hua Chen's teeth after the golden Yuan spirit light was swallowed. This caused the entire place to suddenly turn dark and cold. What? The expressions of the experts on the peaks changed drastically as horror gushed out from deep within their eyes. An initial profound death stage expert was actually so pathetic in Hua Chen's hands. Just who was this powerful individual? Is there anyone else who has any objections? Hua Chen licked his lips. This action caused a chill to rise in everyone's hearts while he smilingly looked at them and asked. No one replied. Heh? Hua Chen grinned. His eyes were filled with ridicule. Lin Dong's eyes were as cold as the edge of a blood as he slowly tightened his grip on the lightning emperor scepter. Just as he was about to step forward, a bewitching fiery red figure on a distant mountain peak beat him to it as she stepped forward while accompanied by an ice-cold murderous intent. Choke. The beautiful yet deadly fire phoenix spear was slowly lifted. After which, it was pointed directly at Hua Chen. Tang Xinlian's eyes were like ice as mighty yuan power which caused one's expression to change gathered around her body like a storm. This is the Flame Divine Hall's territory, those from the Yuan Gate should scram. A fiery red figure held onto her fire phoenix spear while she hovered in the air. Her fiery red hair swayed with the wind, while her exquisite and alluring face was filled with murderous intent. Bang bang. Wild and violent yuan power circled and rose around Tang Xinlian's body like a rising tornado. In fact, even the surrounding air was pressured until it crackled and exploded. It was quite a startling sight. Many pairs of eyes outside the immeasurable mirror were staring at this fiery red figure, who had voluntarily stepped forward. Their eyes were filled with shock. Tang Xinlian's reputation was clearly comparable to her beauty within this chaotic demon sea. Ha ha, you are indeed worthy of the title Flame Fairy. Your charisma and charm are not inferior to that of a man. Hua Chen looked at Tang Xinlian, who was holding the long spear and staring back at him. His eyes became focused as he said with a smile. Tang Xinlian stared at Hua Chen. Her originally bright enchanting eyes were now icy cold and filled with the desire to kill. Pointing the fire phoenix spear in her hand towards the distant Hua Chen, she spoke faintly, I will be your opponent. Hua Chen narrowed his eyes. He was well aware of Tang Xinlian's strength. In a real fight, it would be possible for her to tie him down for a while. However, right now, he had to obtain the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol first. The black-robed man, leaning on a stone wall on one of the peaks, slowly took off his hat, revealing his strange, bandage-covered face. A pair of diamond-shaped eyes stared at Tang Xinlian from under the bandage. After which, he slowly took a step forward. Crack! Many cracks emerged on the rocks under his feet, as he stepped forward. A frightening ripple was emitted. Ha ha! However, a soft laughter sounded just as Xu Xiu stepped forward. A blue light flashed and directly appeared in front of him. Sorry, but you should not intervene in their fight. Zhu Zi looked at Xu Xiu with a smile as he said. You are no match for me. Xu Xiu's diamond-shaped eyes looked at Zhu Zi, who was standing in front of him, before he remarked in a hoarse voice. If you don't try, how would you know? Zhu Zi laughed. A faint white light was emitted from within his body, while an earth-shaking scream seemed to be vaguely emitted. It caused the entire place to shake. It seems like in order to obtain the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol, a fight is inevitable. Hua Chen grinned when he saw this scene. A dark chill quickly surged from deep within his eyes. In that case, I will have to kill you. I'm afraid that you don't have the ability to do so. Tang Xinlian's pretty eyes contained a darkness as she laughed coldly. She quickly turned towards where Lin Dong was. Lin Dong, do not allow anyone to touch the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol. Lin Dong nodded gently. It seems like a huge fight was inevitable. Brat, are you just going to be a useless bystander again? This is truly disappointing. Hua Chen glanced at Lin Dong and laughed softly. His laughter was filled with ridicule. Lin Dong lowered his eyelids and acted as if he had not heard Hua Chen's provocations. Instead, he directly sat down. Yuan power quietly circulated within his body. He wanted to adjust his own condition to reach his peak. TSK. When Hua Chen saw that Lin Dong ignored his own provocation, he curled the corner of his mouth. Just as he was about to speak again, Tang Xinlian's eyes turned completely icy. Her body moved before she shot forward. The fire phoenix spear in her hands danced and formed many shadows, which were accompanied by a sharp aura, as they rained down on Hua Chen from all directions. You should stop uttering nonsense. Your opponent is me. Ha ha, since the flame fairy is so valiant, won't I appear as weak and cowardly as Lin Dong if I back down? Hua Chen laughed out loud when he saw Tang Xinlian charging over with great killing intent. Clenching his fist, dense black chi rose from his finger as a punch was thrown. Bang! The black light fist whistled forward and easily shattered the many spear shadows. However, the flame fairy should be a little more serious if you wish to fight with me. A trick like that is useless against me. A cold glint gathered in Tang Xinlian's eyes as she tightened the grip on her spear. Majestic yuan power gushed out while bright red light swept out from the spear like a monstrous flame. A clear phoenix cry resounded across the sky. Heaven Phoenix Red Moon. Bright red light gathered and directly transformed into a 1,000 feet large moon, which sat at the tip of Tang Xinlian's spear. Flames rose beside the moon, while a terrifying destructive force radiated forth. Everyone could tell that Tang Xinlian was using her signature moves. Any probing strikes against a powerful individual like Hua Chen was completely useless. Red Moon cut. Tang Xinlian waved her hand. A delicate cry sounded and the red moon turned into a ray of red light as it tore through the air and whizzed towards Hua Chen in the distance with lightning-like speed. Ha ha, this is getting a little interesting. Hua Chen laughed towards the sky. Promptly, he took a step forward while black chi crazily surged from within his body. His eyes also become unusually dark at this moment. Devil Demon Force, shatter. Hua Chen's body seemed to have turned into a sinister devil as he was covered by a dense black fog. He did not dodge in the face of Tang Xinlian's attack. Instead, black chi spread as he pressed a finger forward. Swoosh! A ray of black light penetrated the air with indescribable speed and ruthlessly collided with the bright red moon. A shocking energy ripple swept across the sky. The terrifying violent energy caused the faces of some initial profound death stage experts to change drastically. Even they did not dare to casually intervene in a fight of this level. While Tang Xinlian and Hua Chen were engaging in a huge fight, murderous intent also suddenly surged from Zhu Ziyi and Xu Xiu, as they faced off in another battleground. Resplendent white and black light surged towards the sky, with each of them occupying half the sky. An elephant's low and deep cry resounded across the sky while being accompanied by a frightening strength. Bang bang bang. The two battlefields became the focus of attention in the immeasurable mirror at this moment. Their frightening fights caused the eyes of many to reveal some shock. Their fights could be considered as a fight between the best amongst the younger generation members. Those other experts on the peaks were also intimidated by the strength those four had unleashed in their respective fights. In fact, there was actually no one who dared try to get their hands on the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol. Lin Dong sat quietly on a peak while wild and violent yuan power spread like thunderbolts in the sky. His dark black eyes were extremely calm. A delicate little figure rushed over from some distance away and landed beside Lin Dong. She pouted her mouth and said, "Big brother Lin Dong, that fellow is so hateful. Why don't you beat him up?" She could naturally tell that Lin Dong's withdrawal in the face of Hua Chen's taunting had caused some bystanders to quietly curl their mouths in disdain. Those people were not aware of the agreement between Lin Dong and Tang Xinlian. Hence, their hearts involuntarily felt some disdain when they saw no response from Lin Dong, who had instead allowed Tang Xinlian to intervene. Lin Dong laughed softly as he heard Mu Lingshan complain. Lifting his head, his jet black eyes reflected the eye-catching battleground that was now the focus of attention of countless individuals. Then, he said, "I need some time to prepare." Mu Lingshan came to a sudden comprehension after she heard this. Lin Dong should be in a pretty good state now. Even I do not have much confidence in the subsequent battle. Lin Dong rubbed Mu Lingshan's small head. He inhaled a deep breath and said, "They are no match for Hua Chen and Xu Xiu." Mu Lingshan's small face had a change in expression. She looked at the two battlegrounds and muttered, "Sister Xinlian and Zhu Ziyi are not at much of a disadvantage." She paused after saying this. After which, she looked at Lin Dong in a worried manner. "If they fail, is brother Lin Dong going to fight alone?" Lin Dong nodded slightly. He muttered, "Although those two are the strongest younger generation members that I have ever encountered. However, I have promised Elder Mo Luo, and I ought to keep it. Bright red flames whistled through the sky like shooting stars. The spot where the flames whizzed past became searing hot, and there was a figure vaguely visible within the flames. Fire Phoenix Red Lotus. A feminine cry containing an icy cold murderous intent was emitted from within the flames. The flames suddenly exploded before sharp searing hot spear figures turned into a brilliant red lotus. The red lotus spun as it flew towards the black glowing person with lightning-like speed. Ha ha! When that black glowing figure saw this shockingly and sharp attack, he laughed towards the sky instead. His laughter contained a pride that could not be hidden. Devil Demon Force, Spirit Annihilation Palm. Black light spread and directly transformed into 1,000 feet large black light palm. Black chi lingered over the huge palm, causing the searing hot air to gradually turn icy cold. Black and red light shot towards the sky before they finally clashed abruptly. Flames and black light occupied half the sky respectively. The huge immeasurable mountain actually began to shake amidst this clash. Red and black light entwined with each other. It was clearly a splendid sight. Countless pairs of eyes were focused on this spot, while their eyes were filled with a dense solemnness and shock. The intensity of the fight between the two of them had far exceeded their expectation. Initially, they thought that Tang Xinlian would definitely emerge victorious in this fight. However, as the fight between the two became increasingly intense, Hua Chen became fiercer as he fought on, and his demeanor grew increasingly aggressive. Although Tang Xinlian's attacks were also ferocious, those with sharp eyesight could tell that her attacks did not appear to cause much harm to Hua Chen. That fellow, just where did he come from? He is actually this powerful. Many experts were quietly in shock. Tang Xinlian's reputation was built up from countless battles, and there was hardly any younger generation member in Chaotic Demon Sea who dared to challenge her. However, she was currently being pestered by an unknown individual, and she was in fact unable to gain the upper hand. This dark horse is a little too ridiculously strong? There is also another intense battle happening on the other side. The eyes of some individuals were directed towards another eye-catching spot. There was an earth-shaking elephant cry while two figures crossed each other like lightning. Wild and violent ripples caused the space to become a little distorted. White elephant sky collapsing palm. Low and deep cry suddenly resounded from the point where two people clashed. Bright white light swept out. It directly turned into 1,000 feet large giant elephant behind Zhu Zi. Following the appearance of the huge elephant, one of Zhu Zi's arm began to swell. A terrifying strength surged from within. Bang! Zhu Zi's expression was icy. He suddenly threw a punch forward. That elephant behind him charged forward, and the sky seemed to tremble at this moment. Many people were quietly stunned as they watched this scene. The 10,000 elephant skill that Zhu Zi practices was a kind of extremely powerful martial arts that tempers one's body. Sky Demon Seal. Xu Xiu looked at Zhu Zi, who was charging over while being accompanied by a frightening strength. A chill rose in those diamond-shaped eyes. He flipped his palm. Black light gathered and turned into 1,000 feet black seal. He subsequently threw a punch. Clang! The huge elephant was accompanied by a monstrous strength as it collided onto the black seal. Deafening sound of clashing metal resounded across the sky. A terrifying strength was scattered, and it directly shook the surrounding mountains, forming many large cracks. I have said that you are no match for me. The black seal trembled while Xu Xiu looked at Zhu Zi in front and spoke in an indifferent manner. Humph! Zhu Zi's face was icy. He let out a cold snort. Both of his hands were clenched tightly together. A white elephant once again appeared. Its majestic attack rushed towards Xu Xiu from all directions. The two battlegrounds in the sky were so intense that one could not shift one's eyes away. Everyone was aware that the battle in front of them likely represented the top fight amongst the younger generation of the Chaos Demon Sea. The other experts on the peaks, who also had a mountain seal, looked at these two battlegrounds. Their expressions were grave. Only after having personally witnessed this fight was it possible for them to realize the gap in their strengths. The top three on the rookie list were indeed abnormal beings. Lin Dong sat on a mountain peak in a tranquil manner while the many people were shaken by this battle. His dark black eyes did not show any ripple because of the fight in front. Big brother Lin Dong. Mu Lingshan stood guard beside Lin Dong. Those clear large eyes were watching the young man beside her. She could vaguely detect that almost all of the strength within Lin Dong's body seemed to be gathering together. Big brother Lin Dong, do you have any confidence? Mu Lingshan asked in a worried manner. Even powerful individuals like the Tang Xinlian duo were gradually giving their opponents the upper hand. It was really too difficult for Lin Dong to rely on his own strength to block the Xu Xiu duo. Confidence? How can there be any absolute confidence? Lin Dong looked at Mu Lingshan and laughed softly. Tang Xinlian and Zhu Zi basically represented the strongest amongst the younger generation of the Chaos Sea region. Just how strong must the Xu Xiu duo be if even those two were defeated? Even the ever-confident Lin Dong did not dare to say that he could truly be victorious against such powerful people. This would likely be the most dangerous fight other than the battle outside of the unique Devil City. Moreover, it was obvious that he was unable to use the strength of the two great ancestral symbol with countless number of people watching. Otherwise, he would definitely be targeted if the Yimo discovered the ancestral symbols. Mu Lingshan involuntarily bit her lips after seeing the usually confident Lin Dong uttering such words. It seemed that the current situation was a little different from what she had imagined. It is because of those two damn fellows. Miss Tang and Zhu Zi should be able to hold out for a little longer. Lin Dong looked at the intense fights in the distant sky. He narrowed both of his eyes. Taking a deep breath, he slowly clenched his hands tightly. It was possible for him to sense that the hidden strength deep within his body was being extracted by him a little at a time. It has been a long while since I have unleashed my full strength in a fight. The fight in the sky became increasingly intense with the flow of time. Even an advanced mysterious death stage expert would not dare to easily receive those many energy ripples being emitted. Bang! The energy attacks exploded in the sky. Two figures ended up shooting out from the two battlegrounds. Their bodies shook while their auras appeared slightly chaotic. Ha ha, the both of you are no match for us. Hua Chen stood in the sky and laughed faintly. His eyes were dark and gloomy. Black Qi also lingered around Xu Xiu, who stood afar. A terrifying ripple was partially felt from him. Tang Xinlian's fiery red hair was scattered. Her icy eyes looked at Hua Chen, whose body was surrounded by black qi. She clenched her hand tightly. If they were to fail, the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol would fall into the hands of the Yimo. At that time, Mo Luo's plan would end in failure. This was definitely something that she could not allow. It is too early for you to be happy. Tang Xinlian's icy voice was slowly reverberated across the sky. She gently bit her finger. Bright red blood seeped out from it. Her delicate finger danced and it actually turned into many fiery red symbols. A bright red light suddenly swept out from Tang Xinlian's body as these light symbols appeared. Those red light appeared like a sea of flames. Flame divine life transforming skill. An icy cry was suddenly emitted from Tang Xinlian's mouth as the sea of flame spread. The monstrous flame wrapped around her delicate figure. It slowly agglomerated and turned into a pair of huge and unusual fire wings on her back. At the same time, her aura had suddenly soared. Has she started using the flame divine life transforming skill, in that case? Zhu Zi in the distance sighed softly upon seeing this. His eyes gradually became sharp. Majestic white light swept from his body like floodwater. His body became taller as the white light surged. Sage Elephant indestructible body. While Zhu Zi's low and deep powerful voice reverberated across the sky, his body had reached 100 feet in size. The space around him was distorted. There seemed to be a 10,000 feet Sage Elephant standing on the slightly distorted empty space behind him. Many pairs of eyes were startled as they looked at the monstrous flame that permeated the sky and the Sage Elephant. All of them were aware that Tang Xinlian and Zhu Zi were using their most powerful skills. Hua Chen smiled faintly upon seeing this. His eyes seemed emotionless and indifferent. Ha, have you begun to fight with your full strength, In that case, I shall fully destroy your confidence. This video will end here.